Seriously?
Hey guys, and welcome to this news video with me, 6+ Stevo. So yeah, a new 40k rulebook is on the way. This might be old news to a few of you out there, some of the eagle-eyed viewers who may have seen it announced on the Warhammer community site. I myself only learnt of this news through watching another channel, Almost Pro Gaming, who covered it, talking about his thoughts on 9th edition. And it came up as part of his discussion on that. I'll pop a link to his video up in the corner. In watching his video, I started to get quite excited because it was very similar to when I was talking a while back in a similar video about do we need 9th edition yet. I'll also pop a link for that video if you want to go and check that one out. But in that video I was talking about is there a need for a 9th edition, and is it likely to come out soon? And the video basically went along the lines of no, and what I'd rather see is sort of like an 8.5 edition. As all of you out there know, 8th edition has been good. I really like it personally. However, the big issue with 8th edition is the constant updates, which a lot of which have improved the game. A lot of the newer missions and the tightening up of the rules and the balancing and things and tweaks to certain rules and things have been, for the large part, a good thing. But it has caused quite a lot of bloat. It's made the game fairly complicated to learn, especially and to teach, especially to new gamers who you are sort of teaching the rules to, and you're teaching the rules from the rule book, but the rules in the rule book are pretty much wrong now, a lot of them. There's been so many FAQs and erratas and updates, and then you've got the 2 editions of chapter approved that have already been out, with another one coming out shortly. It's very difficult to sort of get a grasp of it, and even to remember, is that the current rule now, or was that updated, or was that just a beta rule? Or it's really difficult. So basically the video kind of ended with me saying that what I would really like is a 8.5 edition of the rule book, still 8th edition, but with all these updates and changes to the rules. So it's just an updated rule book, so we can have it back into one rule book. So that's what I was sort of wish listing for. Watching Almost Pro Gaming's video today, he basically said this is happening. This is what's going to be happening. This is what's going to be heading our way. So I was like, really cool. And I was like, how did I miss this news? Where was this news? I never saw this news. I check into the community site most days and keep an eye on the news. And I saw no mention of this. But after watching this video, I went onto the Games Workshop website, and sure enough, let's take a look now, and I will show you. Okay, so here you go. There it is. Just like he said, in the pre-orders, Warhammer 40,000, the rules, £30 up for pre-order. So yeah, this came from nowhere as far as I was concerned, and so I needed to look into this even further. So if we take in, and basically after a little bit of searching around and things, I did find news of this on the Warhammer community site, buried deep within this section. It was obviously, the news of this dropped on the 22nd of September, so over a week ago now, a good week and a half ago. Until today, I haven't seen anyone talking about this. It's kind of astounded me. Surely this is hot news that everyone wants to be covering. I'm sure a lot of people have covered it. I just haven't seen them. I've recently been on holiday, so I've kind of been a little bit out of the loop. But yeah, so they just buried it in this coming soon, Middle-earth, Mortal Realms, and more. This explains why I didn't see it, because I don't play the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit games. I don't play Age of Sigmar. I do check in on their news and stuff sometimes, but generally it's just 40k stuff that I'm mostly interested in. So I obviously didn't click on this because I didn't think there was anything in there for me. But if we scroll all the way past all this other news, eventually, here it is, buried deep within the bowels of this article, is the hot news that a new rulebook is coming. And yeah, so here it is. What does it say? The Warhammer 40,000 rulebook is a thing of beauty. Yeah, no arguments there. But nobody could claim that this magnificent tome of lore and rules is particularly portable. If you're running short on bag space in advance of your next battle, you'll want to get your hands on a copy of Warhammer 40,000 The Rules. A nifty little book that takes all of the rules from the main book and de-biggins them for your convenience. And yeah, that's all it says. And also, if we look at the section here in the on Games Workshop site, and we see the book, it doesn't really have much detail on this. Your key features, your essential guide to playing Warhammer 40,000. Learn to play easily with the complete core rules. Supports open, matched and narrative play with a host of optional advanced rules. Goes into a little bit of detail here. And yeah, it just sort of says about the size of the book that it's 112 page hardback measuring 150 more millimeters by 209. Basically, it's A5 size. For those of you that sort of know the size of paper, you can see it from the picture. It's basically sort of half size. It's essentially A5, maybe a little bit bigger. Hardback as well, and yeah, it talks to you about, just like everything says in the normal rule book, that you know, the various different things it offers in there, but it makes no mention of what Almost Pro Gaming was talking about in the fact that this has the updated rules and things, which leaves me a little concerned, because yes, a mini rule book is really, really good, and we do want a mini rule book. You know, I remember back in 5th edition having the mini rule book, and it was just brilliant. It had everything that the big rule book had in it, but in a handy little, at the time, paperback, small form size, and it was so handy for bringing to games with you and stuff. As long as you had good eyesight to read the fine text and stuff, it was great. But yeah, here you go. As you can see, it looks to me to be pretty much identical to the larger one, which is good, but is also a real problem, because, like I say, it doesn't make any mention of updates. Neither the community site or Games Workshop site says this. So whether APG has some inside info or something, or some sources that have confirmed that this is the case, that it is an updated book, then great, that's brilliant, and I really hope he's right. But he must be right, surely, because it would be crazy of Games Workshop this late in the stage, after this many updates, to release another rulebook exactly the same, just shrunk. It would be a huge missed opportunity. Surely, GW, you're not going to do this and charge £30 for it, which, by the way, is only £5 cheaper than the full size rulebook. The price is another sticking point for me. For a little miniature size rule, you'd think they would have come down a bit on the price there. I know you're paying for the convenience and stuff, but you know, it's less paper, it's a smaller book. Surely this should be cheaper than that. But yeah, there we go. I mean, I was going to grab my rule book, but it doesn't seem to be around. I think I've got it downstairs because I've been playing games. I was going to compare the number of pages in the book compared to that, and it says 112, so maybe it doesn't have everything that the full rulebook has, because it definitely doesn't, actually, because I know that the main rulebook
Yeah, it has more than that. I know it does, because certain rules I'm looking at are always on page 179. So yeah, it's obviously got some stuff missing from the full-size rulebook. I imagine a lot of the sort of lore and fluff and stuff, things like that, I suspect. So it's just the actual rules itself, which makes sense, which I have no issue with. But again, see, you're only £5 less. You're losing all the lore and the other detail and other stuff that you get in the full-size rulebook. So I don't know, price-wise. Look, if it turns out to be true and this is updated, and so you're not going to need your chapter approved and your FAQs and stuff, and you're just going to need this book, I'll hand over the £30 GW, no problem. I will have this book because it'll be handy. It'll be brilliant. It'll be handy in two ways: smaller, more portable, and also up to date, which I think is the most important thing. I think a lot of us want the up to date rules. So, yeah. The news is that we're getting a mini rulebook. The news that whether this is essentially an 8.5 rulebook or an 8.1 or whatever you'd want to call it, or an updated rulebook, is that I don't know. You'd think if it was, they would be singing about it on GW's site itself or in the community site. They would be singing about this, and the fact that they aren't concerns me. So I await with bated breath to find out whether this is good news or not, because I don't know if it's not updated. I just the portability alone won't be enough to warrant me handing over another 30 quid to GW. I'm afraid you're gonna have to do more than that, GW. So yeah. There we go, guys. So anyway, guys, if you've heard any news on this or you have any sources and know a little bit more, please share in the comments section below. Myself and I'm sure the other viewers will be very interested to know, and hopefully it'll be good news. And if I hear any more on this, I will be sure to cover it again in another video. For now, guys, that is it for me. This is 6+ Stevo, signing out.